Alright, it's recording now. So, let's first give me your birth date, Mama.
1925.
What's the date?
August the 6th.
August the 6th, 1925. Mm-hmm. So, what's your earliest memories of childhood? The first things you can remember about growing up at Clinchco or Mill Creek?
I can remember
about your mom, or
when I was about 10, my Aunt Maxie cleaned houses for doctors and superintendents down in Clinchco.
That was your mom's sister?
Mm-hmm. My Aunt Maxie.
Uh-huh.
And she had a son, and her husband had left her. And I had to carry that son, and I was about 10.
Uh-huh.
Down there to nurse.
Huh. So he was a little baby.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. About every 3 hours, and the colored people would let me. Granny Hubbard. We had a Granny Hubbard at Clinchco.
Uh-huh.
She was a real old lady, just her and her husband. And she'd say, "Come on in here and rest with that boy." And I'd go in there and sit a while, and then I'd walk the upper end of Colored Town.
Uh-huh.
And there was a house up there that made me stop and rest. And we kept him while she was working down for, she worked for superintendent's bosses.
She did some cleaning.
Yeah. You couldn't imagine now what Clinchco looked like then. It was a big town. It was a pretty big town, and a whole lot was going on, and they'd have a skating rink come in every summer and stay about all summer, and we got to go to movies when Mom let us. We got to go about twice a week.
Yeah, I know you said earlier about going to the movies. Sometimes she would let you, sometimes she wouldn't. But you paid for your way.
We had our money where we went to most swimming up on Browns Hill. That's what it's called when we lived there.
Uh-huh.
For it was above Colored Town.
Uh-huh.
And they'd let us stop in, and we was well acquainted with all the colored people.
Where was the movie theater in Clinchco?
It had a pretty big building. It was brick, and the bottom part of it, they had a drugstore there.
Mm-hmm.
And had ice cream and all that stuff, and had a candy store, and a great big company store.
So it was on up in Mill Creek a little bit, or
no,
was that
it was right there.
Where that store is now, where the old store is?
It was right above. The company store was just above that community center there, where it is now, just up.
A little bit past it.
Yeah.
And that's where the movie theater was?
No. The movie theater was, let's see, it was that big community. There was a drugstore and a candy store at the bottom level. And at the top, you went in, you walked up steps, a pretty good flight of steps to go to into where they sold groceries and meats, milk, and it was joined in with the upper part.
Okay.
Like the bottom part was a candy store and a drugstore, and then seemed like they was kind of a drive up something like where trucks could go in. Up above where down below where the company store part was on top of it. And
what kind of work did your mom do?
She was just a housewife, and
kept boarders, you said?
Kept boarders, and cleaned up big gardens there, right on that hillside where we lived. And
she was a hard worker?
Hard worker. She come from Clinchco, across the hill. You know where the community center is up there now. She come across from Browns Hill, across the mountain on the other side, and cleaned up a new ground and raised corn and beans. And we had to pack it out on our back.
Now, you were telling me earlier about the bugs and Clarence. Tell me how that happened again.
She had us catching bean bugs off the bean vines.
I didn't know there were such things.
Yeah, they still are bean bugs. But potato bugs was about this big. And bean bugs was just about that big.
Smaller.
Yeah. And he got the bright eye. We had to have a cup full or jar with lead. And he got the bright idea we get some potato bugs put in there first, and then put the little bugs on top. Well, that's what we did. But Mom caught on to that pretty quick, and that had to end. But anyhow, one time we was playing with potato bugs, and he he's a stick, and he was just working around with them. And first thing we know, Mom had whacked his head and then whacked mine with a hoe handle. And he just put his hands up like, Mom, you just love to work. It was so funny, but now she was tough on us.
What was your mom's, all of her brothers and sisters, what were their names?
Let's see.
No, Lindy.
Lindy was the oldest one. And then Mom, and then Tout. Tout Byers. Let's see. There's Maxie and Zell. One got killed in the mines. Dave. He's buried up here at the fire cemetery. But the slate fell on him and killed him. And
is that all of them?
One died at infant, so there's 12 raised.
Oh, okay.
12 raised.
Grew up.
Yeah, grew up. And they lived at, Granny first come.
Your Granny Byers?
Granny Byers and Grandpa Byers.
Her name was Hetty?
First, Hetty. Hearl. Hetty Byers. And they first lived on Mill Creek. And I know you can't remember a school being up there. There used to be a school at Mill Creek. And it was so far up there, and it was on a kind of a hill like. And
that's where they first lived. Hetty and Samuel, I think was his name.
Yeah, they lived in an old log house there. It was just made of logs. It stood a long time, but I believe it's gone now. There was a schoolhouse there, and then there was that old log house. Mommy and Lindy and Tout and Aunt Lou was born there. And then, I don't know how come, or I can't remember what was said about how they got this property over here at Martha Gap.
Yeah, and they moved over here to where Glenn Hearl lives now.
Glenn Hearl lives now. That's the old home place. There was an old barn and a big spring house. And granted, they'd planted awfulous fields of corn, it was. And all us kids would go on Saturday when we went to school, and we'd help hoe those fields out. Well, one time we was there, all of us come, I don't know how many, there's a slew of us grandchildren. And we'd been a hoeing like crazy. We found a moonshine stick out in one of them big hollers from where Glenn is now. It was up towards where Larkin Turner lives, like you're going to Joyce and Johnny's now. You remember going around that big curve before you go up that great biggest curve? Well, it's down in that holler right there where it's at. And they sent me back to the spring house to get a bucket. And I went and got the bucket, and I come back, and when he first set it up, I forgot what they called that when it was just before it went into ready to run into a still to make whiskey. It was kind of like a beer, I guess.
Sour mash or
or something. But anyhow, we dipped the bucket full. And I took it back to the field. And well, when dinner time come, Granny rung a bell for us to come and eat dinner. And we just sprawled out there, but we went on in. And Lord, did she throw a fit. She see we was all drunk.
Yeah.
And she told the biggest fit ever was, and wanted to know how come we all got drunk and all that stuff. But I don't remember her whipping none of us. I can't. Part of them was grown children.
Yeah. Yeah, you once told me a story about her. She sewed somebody in the bed.
Her first son.
Yeah.
Yeah. She couldn't whip him. He was too big. And he'd been out carousing around one night, and she waited up, or she didn't let him know she was up. But he come in and slipped. They had an outside stairway to go upstairs to sleep. The boys did. And she slipped up there and sewed him in them sheets. He couldn't get away, and she just wore him to a present. And I reckon that was the awfulest time ever was. You know, he was screaming and her whacking, and another one of my uncles. Now, Granny she was law in her house. And Woodrow, we'd had a cornhole over there, and Woodrow, some woman, I can't even remember her name, but her and Woodrow hung together all day. They was right, their heads was together all the day we was working. And this woman stayed, I can't remember her name, but she stayed all night that night at Granny's. And when Granny got to go to church, usually Mom and Dad come pick her up right there where Yvonne lives now. They pick her up there and take her to church. Well, Woodrow and them thought she'd gone to church. Well, she did. She went out there, and Dad and Mom didn't come. For some reason, they didn't come. And she went back, and she was suspicious of the way they told it. And she cut her a big switch before she got there. And she was swarping them with a switch where they knew she was on the place. And that woman broke the run without her panties or anything, and Granny is swiping her. Every step she went quite a ways around the road of hitting her.
When she's probably naked.
Finally got away from her. But now, talk about a life and time that was on. I remember so well when Woodrow come on back to Clinchco. He was working in mines then too. And he come up the steps to Browns Hill where we live. Mommy's on the porch, and she was laughing. He said, "I'll be damned. You done heard it, ain't you?"
How about your grandpa Samuel? Do you remember a lot about him?
He was kind of a quiet man. I remember Granny got jealous of him one time. I can still remember that. She followed him. There was a new teacher come to Turner School. And Grandpa got to going out there quite a bit, and Granny got suspicious, and she followed him. And man, she throwed a fit over that too. I don't know where she whipped that woman or not, but I know she whipped Woodrow's girlfriend.
I read in that one of those books where he was bit by a rattlesnake.
Yeah,
and I think that's what.
That was over next to the break, between here and the breaks in those mountains. It was past Delano, I think, or I don't know. It's on down toward the breaks that he was at, and they were cutting a right away. He worked for Appalachian Power, and cutting right-of-ways on the paralyzed.
Did he die up there at where Glenn Hearl lives now, or had they moved?
Let's see. I can't remember.
Or down in Clinchco?
No, he died at their house.
Huh.
He come to the doctor, and he was on the bed, and went. Somebody brought him. Maybe somebody over in here working. As they come to work, they brought him, and I can remember him being in the bed, and I don't believe we took him to. I believe he died before we got him down there to the doctor. But I can remember, I could just see the bed he was laying in.
Huh. I'm going to stop it there for now, but I'll ask you some more questions later.